Yo, what's up, guys? BTRBs or the Rebel here, and I want to have another discussion, man. And we've been talking about this podcast name for a long time. I keep changing it, man. First it was Rebel Thoughts, then it was But Have You Thought About It This Way, and then it was some other stuff, man. But as of right now, I guess we'll just call it podcast. And but I really think as of right now, the content is more important than what I can name it. And I'm here to affect and make some change, man. And there's a whole lot of stuff I want to get into, but just to let you guys know what's coming in the future, we have more interviews. I plan on doing more work with my homie KJ and in the O&O. I think that's a company that's on the rise here in the 502, and I think it's a company on the rise here in the world as a whole. You know what we want to do in terms of Mars, my brand, Modern Age Rebel Society, and me being what I deem the ultimate rebel is. I want to be that kind of person that can spark change and spark some type of hope, but also create entertainment, create some entertaining dialogue, and create something that makes us think on a day-to-day basis. Man, I think we can definitely do some change, do better in life as a whole, as just all people all together. And for this particular episode, I wanted to have like a word of the day. And if you guys can't tell, I'm freestyling, man. It's just me, unfiltered, raw and uncut, man. And so I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I'm gonna just keep talking, and I think I'll end up formulating the words a little bit better as time goes by. But what I wanted to discuss is this whole concept of, like I said, word of the day, keep. And how can we keep things, right? We all want to keep ourselves. We want to be consistent. And I think the first thing in terms of trying to navigate your way through this world from a societal standpoint as an adult, because I think we don't give enough advice to adults. A lot of times we'll look at an adult and say, well, you know what? They're 20 something. We write them off. And we'll look at a 6-year-old and say, hey, they're the future. That little boy is the future. That little girl is the future. But, to me, it's like, man, I'm 27, bro. You can't tell me I'm not the future. You can't tell me I'm not going to have an impact on society. You can't tell me I'm not going to be the shit. You can't tell me I'm not going to, raise hell in a positive way. As Jay-Z would say, raise hell until it's heaven. You can't tell me I'm not going to do those things. You can't tell me I'm not going to be successful. You can't tell me how I'm going to work. My work ethic. And we all deserve that opportunity to be better. And like I said, this whole concept of keep. So my first thought is keep a hustle. We all need to keep a hustle in terms of, and in the black community, when we say hustle, man, we talking some crazy shit. But for the sake of stopping people as a whole, black people, and everything in between, from going to jail, I'm gonna say keep a legal hustle, man. A legal, not illegal, but keep a very legal hustle. And basically, so in today's time, man, there's so many ways. You have eBay, you have Amazon, you have YouTube, you have all of these different. You could do a yard sale, for crying out loud. There's so many ways to keep a hustle in terms of how do you keep, in terms of keeping a hustle in 2019. And the reason I say that's so important is because jobs are frustrating. If you're like me, you're a person that's envisioning yourself doing better, constantly doing better, owning your own company, flourishing, and providing opportunity for other people. And you want to be an employer, not an employee. And I'm not saying everybody's may not be necessarily cut out for that. Even the ones that want to do it, an even smaller percentage are even able to do it consistently and effectively and successfully, right? So, but keeping a hustle, I think what it does is it allows you to not be so frustrated when you're at your 9 to 5, because, my dad would always say it's a poor fox that only has one hole to go to, meaning keep your options open, right? So when you have options, you easily are at that point, you're able to not be so angry about that. And maybe at a point in time, maybe even able to quit that job. Maybe your hustle doesn't make you a millionaire, but maybe it supplements income, right? And that's what we all want, right? We all want to own our time, right? We want to reclaim our time back. And I think that's so important because going to these 9 to 5s, man, and doing the things I've had to do in terms of my 9 to 5 work, man. I the way I view it is like this, man. I got a college degree, I got a shit ton of debt. I was the student of the year for my program, and despite all of that, I mean, I'm doing temp agencies and whatnot just to be transparent with you guys, man. Just keeping it real, just keeping it honest. As who says just keeping it honest? I'm sure there's like Tory Lanez. So, but no, there's a lot of people just trying to maintain themselves in these 9 to 5s and waiting on that big break, man. And in the midst of waiting on that break, man, keep you a hustle. Part 2, keep good people around you. Keeping positive people around you is important. And sometimes they may not be able to be around you in a tangible form, but once again, going back to the people that you want to you want to surround yourself with, like my homie OCL, me and him, we have conversations constantly, uplifting each other. My mom, my dad, etc. Mentioning earlier, KJ. Me and him having conversations, making sure, hey, bro, stay on your shit, do this X, Y, and Z. Hey, let's link up, let's talk about this, let's do this, let's do that. Making sure we're getting better over time, not just staying stagnant. Because what you want to do is, as a person, you want to grow, but sometimes you can't see it for yourself, man. I'm guilty of it. I know I am. And at times falling victim to the rat race, or falling victim to, just the everyday life, the everyday struggle of, I get up, go to work, get up, go to work. I get up, look for a job, get up, look for a job. Just the same concept of someone supplying you something rather than you actually being able to go for it, make something, create something for yourself, and create something out of yourself, rather than having someone designate what you're going to be. You get to designate what you're going to be. In today's day of time, man, it's, I think, maybe more important than ever. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about mental issues constantly, all the time. But a big part of it is who is around you. Who is entering your thoughts? Like, meaning whose words are entering your thoughts? Whose thoughts are entering your thoughts, right? So who's this person talking to you, right? And that's important. If you got a friend that's telling you, hey, anytime you tell your friend, I want to own a company, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and they tell you that's not possible. They tell you this can't be done. They tell you, they just essentially make it seem like it's an impossible task that's never been done before in the history of humanity. And I always say this: the things I want to do, I think, are amazing, but they've been done before. And to me, it's very simple. If it's been done before, I can do it. And that's just how I approach it. I think life is a journey, man. It's a mystery, and a lot of us, we base things on, me. I've been studying the science field, man, and a lot of it's genetics, and a lot of it is just sheer will of what will you do, right? What will you bring to the table? You got to get that shit out of you, and you gotta do something. And like I said, a lot of that starts with simply, who do you choose to be around? Because I think that's one of the most important things you could do. Because when you're not at your job, when you're not at your company, when you're not at whatever your place of employment, your school, your wherever you got to be. That's the thing about society, right? Many of us have to be at some place every damn day, right? Whether it be school, like I was in college, man. Went to high school, middle school, elementary, all that, the whole shebang. And having a job is the same way. You're surrounded by random people that you didn't choose, but you chose the area, and thus, or you chose the place you wanted to be at, whether it be the school or the job, and thus people start being around you that you didn't think you were gonna be cool with. And then thus there's people you do like, people you don't like, X, Y, and Z. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's so much there's so many things that come into play on an everyday basis, that when you step out of that 9 to 5 circle, it's very important. It's very important to pick and choose, because these are the people that you can actually pick and choose to talk to, right? You can't choose your parents, you can't choose your family, your siblings, X, Y, and Z, but you can choose your friends, man. You could choose them to some extent, right? I mean, you got a limited circle because most times you're limited by who you can see. But I tell you one thing, man, I met some terrific people across the globe, man, just through social media, but also make sure that they some real people too. And not real like, oh, they solid individuals, but real as in like they ain't catfishing your ass. But another one is, man, the third keep I'm thinking of right now is keep everyone accountable. So now you got you a hustle, you got good people around you. Now make sure they keeping a hustle. Make sure they keeping good people around them. At this point, this makes you develop a team. Now you actually have a team and you're a unit, right? Now you actually have an actual unit that is able to go against society. I constantly hear, I constantly hear people talk about a lot of conspiracy theories, right? Like the government's against us, this person's against me, this person on my job, it's this, it's that. What you are essentially saying is there is a unit against an individual. And anytime a unit is going against an individual, you gotta understand how that unit's gonna affect, right? There's only so much you can do with that unit as an individual. I mean, we've seen it year after year on a sports level with LeBron. LeBron, best player in the league, but if his team ain't good enough, the surrounding pieces ain't good enough, it's not gonna make a difference. I mean, so you constantly see that throughout sports, right? Where it's Michael Jordan, whether it's Kobe, Kobe didn't even make the playoffs one year. LeBron, Kobe was in his prime. LeBron, you can make the case still in his prime, just missed the playoffs, right? And is it because, he's not a playoff player no more, or is it because the team isn't good enough, or there's a lot of factors, right? But when it's an individual versus a unit, most times that great individual can lose to that good unit, right? So a good unit is better than a great individual at times, and most times. I mean, that's in war, that's in business, that's friendship, that's whatever. I mean, that's why you see, people, like if you study the statistics on marriage and how people get, not that I'm a big fan of marriage, but just for the sake of the argument, the sake of the discussion, but I'm not anti-love, by the way. But for the sake of the discussion, anytime two or more people are able to work towards the same thing, we're able to do some amazing things with that, right? We're able to move forward and focus on it, because now you got, especially when they're lockstep, right? When you got one person who's carrying their weight, the other one carrying the other weight. Now we're no longer at this point where I'm just in it by myself. So mentally, remember, we're not machines. We're not, and I was telling somebody this before, that when the one thing I think that's important is to be skillful and be unique and utilize your uniqueness, right? You're already unique, but show it. Show everyone that you're unique, because in today's day and age, with social media, with technology getting better and better and better and better, not even social media, but technology as a whole getting better, we think we don't need each other as much, because, like, for example, you go to Walmart, there's far less cashiers than ever been. There's a lot of people. I mean, we see, for example, in the labor field, now we got forklifts and conveyor belts and all these different things, making the job easier. But what that does in the long term is that makes it harder for you to get that job, right? Because now, who am I going to take? This machine that doesn't think, this machine that doesn't get depressed, that doesn't get sad, that doesn't get mad when I tell it to work harder. I just hit the switch and the machine goes harder. We as people, we're not machines, man. And I know it's tough, man, because for me, it's like I try to pride myself on being mentally tough, mentally strong, and the whole focus is don't break down, and don't let anybody break you down for no circumstance. But the reality is, man, sometimes we break, or we fold. We don't have to break, but we damn sure do feel the effects, man, of the wear and tear of life. And so it's dope to have another person, and that person don't have to be your girlfriend, your wife, etc. It could just be your homie. It could be your mom. It could be, anybody. It could be your sibling. And, For me, I have all of that in between. I have so many people that I could talk to on a day-to-day basis, man, that just keep my mind focused and, at times keep my spirits up as well, man. But, also the fourth keep, which is for all intents perfect, wow, all intensive purposes, it is my final keep, and that is keep your sense of self. So understand yourself, understand who you want to be as a person, and understand that internally, right? So grasp that. Understand, okay, this is what I want to be. This is who I am. Okay, I want to be this. I want to be that. To me, if you do those first three, that's kind of like Maslow's. My mind is slipping, man. But it's kind of like realization, man. It's like his levels of realizing yourself and understanding like just what kind of person you want to be. You have to work consistently on what you want to do and be honest with yourself. I had to be honest with myself today, man. Like, okay, is this what I want to do? Do I want to rap? Do I want to make a podcast? Do I want all these things? Do I want to invest in stocks? Do I want to get in real estate? Do I want to be successful, period? Do I want to accomplish everything I said I wanted to do since I was a child? And the answer is hell fucking yeah, I want to do it. But am I making the necessary steps? Not just from a standpoint of am I making the right steps, but am I even moving? Am I trying to make a step? Period. Right? We got to focus on effort. We got to focus on effort, and we got to focus on being efficient with our time. Not just because it's as simple as this. You got to know how you're gonna work. You got to cater your work ethic towards what you want to do. So if you want to be a great basketball player, you want to be a great shooter of the ball, you want to be a great 3-point shooter. Well, wasting all your time lifting weights and not ever shooting the three it's not going to help you, right? No different than if you wanted to be a power lifter. Shooting 3-pointers all day is not going to help you with that. So it's like I said, it's catering that game, man. Catering your skill set, catering your desires, and then creating a skill based upon those desires, if that makes any sense. So if the goal is, like I said, you want to be a power lifter, hey, maybe you shouldn't go to Steph Curry, but maybe you should go to, like a Ronnie Coleman or, there's a plethora of guys, man, in that field or whatever the case you want to do. But you have to understand, you got to learn from one, you got to learn from other people in the field altogether. Like, let's just be honest. And a lot of time that means getting a mentor or just self-education, whatever fits you, whatever fits your mode, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of people charging for speeches, a lot of people charging, acting like for like some magic pill or some magical book that's gonna like just solve it all. And I'm not saying books don't mean anything, because and words mean just as much, right? Because words are in books, right? So, but understand, these things will not mean anything. I mean, you could constantly look up inspirational quotes and be like, man, this feels good. I'm getting it. This is what I want to do. I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to do this because I've been looking up this. I want to do that because I've been looking up that. And then you get home and you don't do it. But then you constantly Google, YouTube, dope videos, things that make you inspired. And maybe that's just where you're at in your stage, man. And there's no wrong, there's no right, no wrong in it, I guess. But understand that sitting down at the bottom of Mount Everest and being inspired to climb it, you'll never climb it. So just understand where you want to be in your life, and understand and be honest with yourself and say, okay, am I making the right steps towards getting to that particular area in life? And if the answer is no, and you know it. I mean, we know, like, in terms of, we don't know the future, but we know when we're giving effort. Right? We just know it. Like, I play basketball, and I've had games, man, where I know, like, I gave him all, and we lost, and I was disappointed in the loss, but I was cool from the standpoint of, I don't know if I could have gave too much more. At that point, you're like, man, maybe I could have done this better in terms of the game plan. How did I play? Sure, those are always, that's endless, right? And but in terms of the effort, never shortchange yourself on effort. And effort, to me, a lot of times will showcase through your creativity, because when you want to do something, you're going to do it. I mean, it's as simple as like playing Zelda, man. You know, for all my gamers out there, man, Zelda's at times a difficult ass game to play, at least for me. You know, I don't know if that's just a reflection of the game or my low SIQ, man, but Zelda is a difficult ass game at times, bro. But my willingness to beat the game makes me go through hurdles, makes me start to become creative. Thus, I start finding out ways to find, you know, the keys, the puzzles, X, Y, and Z to beat the game because I'm so invested in it, right? So, and that's just on a video game level. So if you're invested, this is like I said, this is for my gamers, man. If you guys are so invested in a game, man, be invested in the game of life. And like I said, your effort, a lot of times it will manifest itself through your creativity, man, because when you're at your, you know, some people like creativity comes to them real easy. Like they ain't really got to try for it. Some people they got to try, man. And I think I'm probably a little bit of both. I think I have I think my best gift is my imagination just because, you know, working on the book, man, trying to be a writer once had my own comic book, making music. I think creativity and imagination is probably one of my strong suits just because of the fact that I have a immense amount of belief in myself, man. But at the same time, I get down too, man. And when I'm in that slump, very difficult for me to create things because I'm looking of way I'm making excuses and thinking of ways it can't be done instead of being like, okay, this shit can get done. And I'm more so thinking like from the perspective like, oh, it can't get done, so I'm not thinking of ways to do, right? So we have to keep our spirits up, man. Keep a hustle, keep good people around you, keep everyone accountable, keep your sense of self. And there's a lot of more shit in life, man, that's gonna, you know, transpire obviously, man. But that's really all I wanted to discuss for today's episode. But have you thought about it this way? Maybe that's gonna be the name, maybe it won't be. But the fact of the matter is, I'm back with consistency, man. And if there's one thing I am is inconsistently consistent, man. But I'm definitely gonna try to be more consistent. I'm gonna stay focused on this because this is something I want to do. I want to help. I want to be. I want this podcast to grow, man. I want to interview different people, man. I want to. You know, I was telling my friend, man, I want to interview Goldberg. You know, I would love to interview some wrestlers, some scientists, some singers, rappers, etc. But in the near future, I will have guests on. I have my cousin. He's a rapper, Keenan X. Me and him will be on the show, and we will discuss a plethora of issues. Like I said, I'm gonna have KJ on here. I'm trying to get my homie OCL on here one day as well. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. In the meantime, I'm gonna continue grinding. I suggest you guys do the same and enjoy your day. Enjoy your life, man. Stay motivated. Like I said, keep that hustle. Keep good people around you. Everyone needs to be accountable, including you. Keeping your sense of self, meaning be yourself. Understand who you want to be, who you are, who do you see yourself as mentally, and then force the world to see that same person. If you view yourself as this iconic, great, legendary figure, cool. But that means you can't just constantly treat other people like that and act like they're in some lane that you can't get to, right? No one is doing something that you can't do, and from the standpoint of an effort standpoint, right? And what I mean is like, so LeBron is LeBron, Steph is Steph. Neither can be who they are, like in terms of Steph can't be LeBron, LeBron can't be Steph, but both can be great. Both can be great. So there's no excuses, right? That's creativity right there. The fact that Steph is much smaller, less athletic than LeBron, but somehow creative enough, had enough confidence in his own game, in his own life, in his own mind to create a brand of shooting that we've never seen before. Thus, 2-time league MVP, 3-time champion, all of those different things, man. But y'all stay up, man. Y'all stay with it. Let's go.